This monument,
Major Kip P. Taylor.
this piece of the
Army.
World Trade Center,
Sergeant.
it sits on the
Pamela
property of the Livonia Fire
Army.
District, but it's
Lieutenant
not our
Colonel
monument.
Karen Wagner, Army.
This is your monument.
Staff Sergeant.
Al-Qaeda and bin Laden never imagined that 3,000 people who lost their lives that day would inspire 3 million to put the uniform and harden to resolve 300 million Americans. They never imagined the sleeping giant they were about to awaken.
Whether it was New York or Washington, and they never came home. Real people, real lives.
People have spoken about 15 years ago, 15 Septembers. So many days have gone by since that attack on our country occurred. The monument to my right, people have spoken of it as a piece of steel, how well it has stood. But it needs to be looked at from a different perspective in several different ways. Actually, that piece of steel is a celebration of life. And that may be confusing to some of you, but it stood strong, it stood straight, and allowed the evacuation of 100,000 people from those buildings. So you look at it from that perspective. You can look at it as a symbol of death. 3,000 plus people, firefighters, EMTs, law enforcement, EMS, and others. But it's not just really a basic piece of steel that was mined from the ground and rolled through a mill and stamped out and went to a construction site and was fixed according to a blueprint with nuts and bolts. And who knew that it was actually going to be a piece of steel that actually would stand long enough to evacuate 100,000 people out of those buildings and represent the symbol of life.
So I can honestly say personally, when I think of 9/11, think of a phone call I got that morning from a firefighter from FDNY who called me and said he probably would never talk to me again because he was going into the World Trade Center that a plane had hit. And he hung up the call. We had been together the weekend before. Everything was normal and good.